back and better than ever. It's 4th and 1 podcast. Thank you for being here. It is your boy, Captain Boring, alongside his good buddy, NotCFBIII. The college football season, regular season, is over, and we are now going to head towards the postseason that actually starts on Saturday, right after Army-Navy, first bowl game. I just found this out, so even a avid college football fan finds out new things about college football every day. One thing that avid college football fans already knew is that Notre Dame is just the worst. And they proved that again on Sunday when the selection committee came out and left Notre Dame out of the college football playoff. So the seedings are as followed, starting at number 1, going all the way to number 10. It is Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas Tech, Oregon, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Alabama, Miami, and then it is Tulane, and then James Madison. So those are your 1 through 12 championship Sunday. The early windows were real kind of not good. The 2 late windows in the Big Ten championship game and the ACC championship game were outstanding. We'll just kind of leave it as that. Ohio State, Indiana did something that they hadn't done since World War II, which was win a Big Ten conference title. They beat Ohio State, who appeared to be unbeaten at that point in time. Fernando Mendoza won the Heisman, if you are Gus Johnson. And Duke beat Virginia, which set up letting Miami get in over Notre Dame, because you can't leave out the ACC. There are lots of theories with this. Robert wants to talk a lot about this, so we're just going to let him kind of start, and we'll jump in as needed. So, Robert, thoughts on the selection committee? Start there. Thoughts on the overall selections, and then we'll get to Notre Dame after.
Selection-wise, they were all good except for Alabama. I mean, I get where they say they don't want to penalize the conference championship game. If that's the case, Ohio State should be number 1. Because you penalize them because they lost, so you move them down. You penalize BYU for losing, you move them all the way out. You penalize literally every single team that lost. And the teams that won, you bumped them up. Georgia moved up to to 3. Indiana jumps up to 1. But for whatever reason, we have an Alabama team that got their mouth kicked in against Florida State, who might let's go ahead and look at their repertoire for this year. I don't even think they sniffed 500. It took them correct, yes. Took them like 4 months just to win an ACC game. They lose a close game to Oklahoma, which coincidentally now they play in the first round, which I didn't think that they liked to do. And then they just get mollywopped in the SEC championship, and they have negative yardage in that game running the ball.
-3 rushing yards,
right.
You are correct.
Yeah, so that's, everything. Okay, check. That's 3 losses, the most out of every team in the playoff. And yet they don't move at all. When it came, the argument between Miami and Notre Dame, in reality, shouldn't be much of an argument because of the head-to-head, but that was the big argument forever. Once Alabama lost, it shouldn't have been an argument anymore. The argument just should have been, okay, so do we make Miami 10 or Notre Dame 10? That's what the argument should have been. Because you lost. Get over it. If you didn't want to be in that situation from the start, you shouldn't have got your mouth kicked in against Florida State, and you shouldn't have lost at home against Oklahoma. That's it. Not Kobe Smart. Kirby
There you go.
at the end of the year talking about, oh, well, this would have been our 9th conference game. We would have had to play a no. And it's like, then suck it up. Like there's when you compare the Big Ten and the SEC, I'm going to be honest, there's no difference. Okay. They are 5-star kids, 4-star kids, 3-star kids, and in Northwestern's case, 2-star and 1-star. Okay.
Hey, they play with heart. They play with heart.
Sure. We'll go with that. It's the same caliber of people playing the game. It's the same in the FCS. You have maybe not 5-star kids, but like for 5-star FCS kids and 4-star FCS kids going at each other. That's just the way it is. And I'm sorry, but yeah, you shouldn't be playing St. Mary's for the blind at week 12. Like, play an extra conference game then. Like, it's not, I just don't, the SEC likes to talk this big talk. But when it comes to walking that walk, they need a cane because we're so beat up. We're so beat up. Everyone is beat up. You've been playing for 13 weeks, 12 weeks, however many weeks. Get over it. It's football.
Yeah, I think I agree with you in the fact that Alabama should not be in because Alabama all year has not been able to run the football. If you're a listener and a friend of the pod, you have heard me say on multiple occasions every single week, Alabama still can't run the football. Alabama still can't run the football. Alabama did not play good football the last month of the season. That's a fact. All you Alabama fans out there, I'm sorry to tell you, I went to your game. It was an electric atmosphere. Loved it. But even in that LSU game, you guys couldn't run the football. Your offense looked pedestrian. So your best win over the last month of the season was LSU 20-9 at home. And even then, like, you needed a touchdown in the second half, late third, early fourth to put the game away. If Alabama had gone in and lost to Georgia 27-24, and it was back and forth, and Alabama looked good, and their offense was clicking, and their defense, which has played well for a majority of the year, especially the second half of the year, okay, fine. Then they should be in because they played well. But it's the fact that they got stomped by 21. They didn't cross the 50 until the second half. They didn't have a red zone entrance in Georgia's red zone until late fourth quarter, and you had -3 yards rushing. That does not scream to me a team that can win the national championship, and that's what all of this is about, is getting the best teams to win the national championship. Now, I will also sit here and tell you that on any given year, there are about 5 teams that can win a national championship. Okay? Of the bracket that we have, Bob.
Yeah.
I don't know where there they are. Of the bracket that we have, Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas Tech, Oregon, Ole Miss, A&M, Oklahoma, Alabama, and Miami. Who can win a national championship in there?
I would say numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and number 10.
And number 10 being Miami.
Yes.
Okay.
I think Miami. A lot of it rides on Carson Beck performing, but they at least, I think, other than the top 4, I think they have the next best defense. Oklahoma could, but if John Mateer does not have a good game, then it's
if Oklahoma can use this 20 days off and find an offense, get John Mateer healthy, I think Oklahoma is very dangerous. They are definitely the sleeper, I would say, because of how well Oklahoma's defense is playing currently. But you, again, prove my point. Texas Tech, very impressive. Georgia, very impressive. Indiana and Ohio State, very impressive. I know Ohio State lost, but their defense held up their end of the bargain. It's just, Robert, as you have been saying, you wanted to see Ohio State get punched in the mouth. Well, they got punched in the mouth and they didn't get back up. So will they be able to do that in the playoffs? We shall see. And then you got your two teams, Tulane and James Madison, your two group of 5. Paul Fonbaum, I need you to hear me very, very clearly when I say this. And I know that you won't be listening to this podcast because it is beneath you, but I need you to hear me say this. Shut up about the group of 5. You want to do away with group of 5? You want to do away with college football? Go back and just keep building up the SEC, okay? Your coaches are mad you got to play an extra conference game because of potential injury and wear and tear. Okay, guess what? Big Ten's been doing it. Big 12's been doing it. You guys will be fine. It means more down there. Pay your athletic trainers and your rehabilitation staff more. You guys will be fine, okay? Get it together. And Paul Feinbaum, you need the group of 5 if you want college football to survive. If you're okay with college football just continuing to descend into utter and mass chaos, okay, then group of 5 can go away. But I don't. I want the health of the sport to include everyone. Now, if you want to rework the rules to say, yeah, you need to be ranked in the top 15 and just make that a general statement, absolutely. Which leads me to my next point, which is Notre Dame. Notre Dame, in the next iteration of the college football playoff, if it expands to 14 or if it stays at 12, if they are ranked 12 or above, Notre Dame gets an automatic invitation to the college football playoff. Did you know that?
Well, okay. I didn't know about it, but then once they didn't make this one, then like everything came out about that.
So I need a few things from Notre Dame fans. Number one, shut up. You lost to Texas A&M and Miami, and then you did what you were supposed to do. You just absolutely obliterated schools that were just so far beneath you. They were 10 feet below a pile of horse shit. Sorry, Mom. Okay? So you did that. I need your athletic director to shut up about being offended by the ACC. If you wanted the ACC's backing, you should have joined the ACC in football. But just because every other sport program that you have is in the ACC doesn't mean the ACC owes you anything in the sport of football. You want to become a member in football? They'll back you and not put out pro-hurricane tweets and derogatory, again, these are strong words, against Notre Dame to try to get Miami in, but you get the point. If you want the respect of the conference and not be viewed as a rival, then join the conference. And I'm done with your pouting because Sunday it came out that Notre Dame said, you know what, we're not going to the Pop-Tart Bowl. By the way, that's the best bowl game we have outside of the college football playoff because you get to eat the mascot. 100%, that's the best bowl game we have. So you didn't want to go there, which then led a whole bunch of other teams to opt out as well. Robert, and I want to get to those teams in a minute because each situation is different. But Robert, opinion on Notre Dame?
I guess I would say it's almost torn because I do feel like part of me feels bad because they should be in the playoff because of because Alabama
over Alabama. I agree with you.
On that end, I'm like, they're being screwed out of that. But in the same sense, it's if you would just join a goddamn conference and stop being this fake tradition school, like you join a conference, doesn't even matter. For all I care, you could be a MAC school. For all I care.
Yeah. Sure.
Just join a conference. That literally fixes 98% of your problem right off the bat. Because of the fact that you can create your own schedule and do whatever you want with the schedule, and you still schedule the academy schools, and it's nothing against the academy schools because the academy schools play with the most heart and they play with the most determination out of any of the schools. You know that you're going to beat them. And they always create this false narrative that, the academy's like Navy gets to like 24 and they're like, Navy has a chance. And it's like, no, they don't. And they lose by like 40. And then we're like, look how good they played against this ranked team.
What? You're still here. I still hear you. Yep. Oh, nope. I can still hear you. Okay.
You scheduled it to where you had two really good matchups. Okay, I'm back on my screen.
You're
Um,
back.
you scheduled it that you had two really good matchups early on, which was smart because if you lose those games, you have the rest of the season to kind of build your way back up. And luckily, the two teams that you lost to ended up as top 10 teams, so it made it look better. But Sarah, you kind of fell to where it was. Some of the teams didn't pan out. USC kind of really didn't pan out towards the end of the season. Syracuse really fell off. But just to not go to your bowl game because you're upset, I mean, that's softer than what Ohio State does. Like
being unhappy with the flag plane.
yeah, I mean, and you're just like the seniors on the team. I get it. Okay, you're pissed off, but like some of these guys aren't going to play in the next level.
BYU and the sad part is BYU and Notre Dame would have been a terrific game, a terrific football game.
Like they should have said, "Yeah, we'll play the game," and then if you're beating BYU by like 20, run it up.
Oh yeah,
put the hammer down, and then if if Alabama would get crushed by Oklahoma, now you have ammo. Now you have see this could have been different. If Miami gets trounced by A&M, now you have more ammo. The fact that they're made wording that they could be automatically in the playoffs is kind of like, okay, we have a 3-year-old throwing a temper tantrum. Let's give him let's give them a little play cell phone just so that they shut up.
Notre Dame is having their cake and eating it too. On their schedule, again, it was Miami and Texas A&M, and then again, Arkansas really turned out to be nothing. Boise State, again, a lower tier school. NC State has been. Oh, yo!
What'd you do?
Well, that was a dog through a. What was that? A bin? She all right?
Yeah, she's fine.
That was a little bit of That was some entertainment.
That's how she gets up on the bed. Is she jumps on that, and she broke the thing and fell into it. We're good.
Oh, all right. She chill.
Yeah, she's good.
All right. I don't know where I was going with that point, so I'm just going to leave it here. That Notre Dame, honestly, this screams that the AD made this call, because I can't. As much as Marcus Freeman preaches about being tough and loving football and wanting to play football and development and young men, and he wants to develop young men. Guess what? This is part of development. Life is unfair. I have a saying: life is unfair, and then you die. This is part of life. He needs to then teach this opportunity and say, yeah, hey, everyone, we got the short end of the stick. Let's go out and prove to everyone that we did get the short end of the stick. I looked it up, and you get, for entering a bowl game, you get anywhere from $500 to $1 million, and you get national TV exposure, and it's a free trip. So what exactly is the hurt of going to the bowl game? And that leads me to my next point. So Notre Dame declined their bowl invitation, which then started just a cascade of teams also opting out of a bowl invitation. Iowa State and Kansas State both declined, and they both got fined $500,000 by the Big 12 for doing this. Kansas State and Iowa State had abrupt coaching changes within the last week. Matt Campbell, oh, by the way, everyone, Matt Campbell got hired at Penn State. I guess we're burying the lead there. So Matt Campbell went from Iowa State to Penn State and got hired there. Chris Kleiman at Kansas State suddenly retired, and they were not expecting that. So their coaching staffs are starting to scramble, so they get more of a pass than Notre Dame. But then a whole bunch of 5 and 7 teams said no thank you. Florida State said no thank you. Auburn, UCF, Baylor, Kansas, Rutgers, Temple all declined to be in a bowl game. Some of them were fill-ins. I believe Baylor and UCF were fill-ins for Iowa State and Kansas State. So they don't get fined as Iowa State and Kansas State did. Where does this leave us with bowl games moving forward? Are these teams pushing back against bowl games? Again, the 5 and 7 teams, they probably shut their season down and sent kids home, I'm guessing, or they're not in football shape or whatever. So I'm guessing that they weren't ready and that's why they declined. And that's fine for the 5 and 7 teams because they viewed their as over. But also, like, I feel like 20 years ago, 5 and 7 teams, if they got a bowl bid, would be like, yeah, let's go, you know?
Well, 20 years ago, we didn't have like 100-some bowl games. The bowl games don't mean anything anymore.
Yeah.
Before they did. If you are a 5 and 7 team, no, you do not deserve to go to a bowl game. If you are a 6 and 6, no, you do not deserve to go to a bowl game. If you are 7 and 5, no, I'm sorry, you don't, because those teams, it's just not. You shouldn't be rewarded for being mediocre, or half like. It's even kind of a stretch for 8 and 4. Like, there shouldn't be as many bowl games as there are. They need to cut down the amount of bowl games, and they need to make it harder to get in. If you want to reward the teams that are 7 and 5 and 6 and 6, make them an NIT bracket, and have like that's your not your losers bracket, but like your NIT
Your losers bracket.
The NIT is the best way I could think about it.
Yeah.
You do that. You make your 8 and 4, your 7 and 5s, whatever. And then if they want to expand how we talked about last time, where you make like your 2 separate, your conference champions go here, and your losers move down. Which that kind of would fix a lot of problems, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I don't think, and like not get rid of, but like. Okay, Ohio State is in the Cotton Bowl. Indiana's in the Rose Bowl. Sugar Bowl. No. Let's take those away and we repurpose. Okay, so your Rose Bowl, your Sugar Bowl, which ones are normally that have been used for the national championship? Sugar Bowl, Rose Bowl's been used.
Cotton Bowl.
Cotton Bowl. It's usually the big 4, right?
The Fiesta Bowl, yeah.
Right. So let's take those 4. Okay, those 4 is a 4-year contract where they swing it around, take their turn. You're in the national championship game. Your other ones, if you want to take them and use them for whoever doesn't opt into the playoff because they just don't think it's going to be there, okay, sweet. The Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl is now going to be a 9 and 3 team versus the ones that don't make the playoffs. Make their season worth it. Make the bowl game worth it.
Is the playoff format broken?
I don't think it's I wouldn't say it's broken. I think there's a lot that can be manipulated. I just don't think that it needs to just be worked on somehow.
Step 1, stop with the weekly ranking show. Honestly, I'd be good. I'm on board now. You don't do a final ranking until the very last week after conference championship game. And someone, for the love of all things holy, needs to be in charge and set some guidelines. Do championship games count or don't count? Both for and against, okay? And that needs to be yes or no, not sometimes yes and sometimes no. We need I'm okay with the auto bids if you win, but we need some sort of, you need to be ranked high or win enough games or something along that line. And finally, I think I don't know. Maybe you go to 14. I would like to see two. I would like to see two more. If you're going to give, which I think they should, group of 5 teams a chance to get in and compete, then you need to make 2 more spots, because I do think that BYU and Notre Dame, or Texas and Vanderbilt, or whoever, would make compelling.
So here's what would happen. We say, okay, we make it 14, then 13 and 14 would be used for the group of 5, and lo and behold, we get to next year. Well, we should be in, because, and that it's just the same cycle. We'll go through are going to go through this for years, because there's always going to be someone who is left out who believes they should be in. Which, first off, conference games, yes, they should matter. The conference championship games, yeah, they should matter. You win, you lose, you go up, you come down. Secondly, get rid of the Associated Press.
Oh yeah,
get rid of that.
Yeah.
If you want to have a college football playoff ranking, week 1, start it then. Start it then. Don't worry about week 0. Start it then. Week 1. That's your playoff rankings, and that's the only rankings that we care about. We don't care about the coaches poll. We don't care about the AP poll. I don't need to see them, because when you go and it's when the first playoff poll comes out, and it's like, well, Sunday when the AP came out, Michigan was 15. Now the playoff poll came out, now they're 17, and that's the one that we're going to honor, so that's where they are. It's stupid. Just make the playoff poll week 1 and just keep it going. We're making something so simple so freaking hard, because, to be honest with you, there's probably too many people's hands in the pot.
Yeah. That should have been my third thing. I'm gonna take my statement back. My third thing is get rid of the AP poll. Stop ranking either rank teams the last 4 weeks, but I don't need the show. Okay? I don't want an explanation. You either just rank, and it's just Monday afternoon at 3 p.m. It pops up. Last 4 weeks of the season, you get rid of the AP, or you do one last big ranking at the end of the season, and then we can talk. And one more thing. The selection committee, you guys can just say, we think Miami's better than Notre Dame. We think Notre Dame's better. If it was week 8 through 12, and where you had Notre Dame above Miami, we think Notre Dame's better right now. But when they get closer, head-to-head will come into effect. You're allowed to say, just come out and tell us the truth. You know what? Alabama was the first seed in the SEC title game, and we would have gotten a lot of shit if we didn't put them in, so that's what we did. That's fine. At least, don't shove something up my bum and tell me it's going to be one size when I can clearly feel that it's something of another size. Okay, does everyone understand what I'm saying there?
I think also what they should do is, when you bring up strength of schedule, I think what you should do is do not account for conference, because you can't change your conference schedule. Who you get is who you get.
Right.
Michigan doesn't get Penn State last year, but they get Penn State next year.
Right.
Ohio State didn't have Oregon this year, but they might have them next year. So, and Alabama might get Ole Miss, LSU, Georgia, and Vandy this year, but next year maybe they get Florida, Mississippi State. They get like a lesser draw, and they get a worse year, and then so now it affects their strength of schedule. Your strength of schedule should solely be the teams you can change. You can change your non-conference, and it's not the Big Ten is just as guilty as the SEC when it comes to scheduling the cupcakes, because Christ, Penn State played Villanova, Nevada, and Delaware or something.
Heck, don't go that far. Look at the number 1 team in the country: Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, and Indiana State.
Right. I think out of all of them, Ohio State and Michigan, I mean, they played Texas and Oklahoma. They played
Yeah. And I need it doesn't work both ways. When a really good team has a ranked win in, let's say, week 2 when the teams were ranked, but now that team isn't ranked anymore, they'll say, well, they had a really good ranked win at the time. But when the team's really bad, they'll say, oh, or on the bubble, they'll say, oh, well, Alabama's worst losses to Florida State. Look how they fell off. Like take the ranking, take their best wins, worst losses, based on what the rankings are this moment, right now. Michigan, through the course of the season, lost to number 16 USC, lost to number 8 Oklahoma, lost to number 2 Ohio State, and those were the 3 losses, right? If USC was unranked at the end of the year, it would be unranked USC, it would be top 10 Oklahoma, and top 3 Ohio State. We need to stop with this. Michigan at the time beat number 20, I think they were like number 18 Oklahoma. Okay, Oklahoma's not 18. They're 8. So there needs to be someone in charge to set hard and fast guidelines. And none of this, a lot of it's gray area. Then make it ungray area.
Yeah, it should be pretty cut and dry.
Someone needs to make a tough decision, okay? Someone is going to be mad anyway, i.e. Notre Dame looking at you. So why not just at least everyone knows what the rules that you're playing for then, and then they can be mad at you up front. But when it kicks in, everyone knows, oh, okay, Notre Dame knows, oh, okay, like we didn't get in because they're going to favor the conference championship games. Okay, maybe we should join the ACC conference then. This is not that hard. Also, the fact that people are upset over the playoff, that's okay too. That's okay too. The fact Notre Dame is upset, okay. The playoffs are working. Again, we don't have 12 teams that can win the national title. We have 5. I feel like, and I'll take back my statement earlier, we should not expand to 14. We don't need any more expansion. We just need a better way to rank them, more guidelines, less shows. The AP doesn't have a show, meanwhile, for obvious reason, but the AP doesn't have a show. They just put it out at like 2 p.m. on a Monday afternoon, whatever it is. Okay, let's go ahead and fast forward here to Army-Navy. It is America's game. 6-5 Army taking on 9-3 Navy. Both of the teams, I believe, already have bowls. Let me find them.
I know Navy does.
Army is playing UConn in the Wasabi Fenway Bowl. That is Saturday, December 27th at 2:15 on ESPN. And Navy is playing Cincinnati in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl on January 2nd, 4:30 ESPN. So they are both in. Another thing they need to do, you got to move this game back. I know you want it on its own weekend and whatever, but start the bowl games earlier. Also we need to adjust the playoffs to where this weekend would be the first weekend of the playoffs. So Army-Navy, Robert, who do you have? Army-Navy uniform game of the year.
Even if Navy had 0 wins and Army had all the wins, I will always choose Navy to beat Army.
Okay, so you are rocking with Navy. I will also. I'm also a big Navy guy. I don't know. They're blue mostly, and I like the color blue, and that's pretty much all you need there. Okay, so we can go ahead and look ahead. Also on December 13th, Saturday, is the first bowl game. Boise State, Washington. Boise State had a strong finish to the year. Madison was hurt for the middle chunk of the year for Boise State. Came back at the end. They got really hot. They upset UNLV in the Mountain West Championship game, so they are the Mountain West champions. Washington had a decent year. They finished 8-4 on the year, with losses coming to Ohio State, Michigan, Wisconsin, that's a bad one, and Oregon, but I would say that they were above expectations. I did not expect 8 wins. So, Boise State, Washington, pair of 8-4 teams. Who you got?
See, here's my thing. Bowl games are always hard to choose because you never know who's playing and who's kind of opting out. Now, the early ones usually, you're pretty safe to say that they're going to be playing. I'm gonna go Boise State. It's actually the first time where I've seen kind of like two bigger name programs being the very first game. Normally, like if you had told me it was Troy and Jacksonville State, I would be like, yeah, okay, that checks out. But it's Washington and Boise State, so I'm gonna go Boise State.
I'm actually gonna go Washington here. Did you also know that it was Troy and Jacksonville State are the next game?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Yeah, that's why I said it because I was like, I gotta find like a.
I honestly thought you just picked 2 teams.
No,
and those were the 2, and I was like, whoa, wow, okay. All right, so that's Boise State, Washington. I'm going to just rolling kind of through real quick here. I'm going to just pick one. Who you got? Kennesaw State versus so we have the Conference USA champions, Kennesaw State, versus the MAC champions, Western Michigan, in the Myrtle Beach Bowl, 11 a.m., December 19th, ESPN. Who you got there?
I'm going to take Kennesaw State. It's a nice, just a little short day trip up there for them.
Okay, excellent. I will roll with the Western Michigan Broncos. They were real hot to finish the year. Only 1 loss in like their last 8 games, I believe. So they are hot as all get out. All right, let's go ahead and fast forward to the first round games. We'll cover these a little bit probably next week as well, but I do just want to touch on them. Let's start Friday night, 8 p.m. ABC, Alabama, Oklahoma. These are home games for Oklahoma, A&M, Ole Miss, and Oregon. Oklahoma real hot to start the season offensively. John Mateer gets hurt. Defense, I felt like was kind of just elite all the way through, and then they really got their back padded when it was clear at the end of the season their offense was not getting back up to speed. Do you anticipate, these two teams did already play, do you anticipate exactly what happened? Oklahoma beat Bama, but this time on home turf. Or do you expect Bama to come out and kind of prove that they belong in the college football playoff?
I'm going to say Bama probably comes out and proves, just because that is the most Alabama thing to do, is when everyone talks very poorly about you, that they would come out. Do I think they find a run game? No, absolutely not. I think they throw the ball a little more. Maybe Ryan Williams actually catches the ball. We'll see.
If he plays?
Yeah, that's kind of the whole thing. Another person who shouldn't have been on the cover of NCAA football, but here we are.
Hey, they got like 4 out. They got 1 out of 5 athletes. It's fine.
Yeah, Don was bad.
Quinn Ewers wasn't great. Not good. Not good. Not great.
It was what's his nuts from Ohio State.
Jeremiah Smith and Travis Hunter. So 2.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
So 2.5 out of 5.
Yeah,
They're batting 50%.
Yeah. Beggars can't be choosers, I guess.
I guess not. All right. So Miami, Texas A&M. I think that this could be. Game day will probably be there. I would have to imagine, because I don't think they're going to go to Tulane, Ole Miss, and they're not going to go to James Madison, Oregon.
Yeah, that would be.
So game day.
Do you think they do that, or do? Yeah, they wouldn't do Friday. Yeah, they would do Saturday.
I mean, they'll probably be there Friday, but they'll probably also do College Station.
Right.
Akeem Mesidor and Ruben Bain are a 2-man wrecking crew on that defensive line for Miami. Texas A&M, though, they got some dudes on their defensive line. I don't know. I remember Hakeem Mesidor and Ruben Bain's name better than anyone for Texas A&M, and I do apologize, big boys. This is a home game. Texas A&M was red hot until they ran into Austin and Texas's defense. What do you anticipate from this game?
I anticipate that this is going to be a very physical game. and I think it's going to be very defensive driven. I think A&M I think they have a better defense, especially with Bain coming off the edge. But I would anticipate that Miami pulls this out. There's a wide receiver for Miami who is a freshman who is extremely good.
Malachi Tony.
Yes, extremely good. Kind of came out of nowhere. I think he's going to give Texas A&M fits, and I would imagine that Miami's going to win this game maybe like a 24-21, 24-17 kind of game.
Shout out to Cassius Howell. He leads the Aggies with 11.5 sacks, and I know you are not. Dalen Evans is in there. DJ Hicks is in there. So they got a lot of dudes coming off the edge there in College Station. I'm actually going to roll with the home team.
All right, dog. If you're just going to take the opposite teams, just tell me you're taking the opposite teams.
Just tell you I'm taking the opposite team. I do like Marcel Reed's ability not only to throw the ball, but to run the ball with his legs. When they were really hot there in the middle of the season, his legs are kind of what kept them alive. He's the reason they won the Notre Dame game. They've kind of been up against it. Miami been playing playoff football ever since, so I anticipate this being a great game. Tulane is an underdog to Ole Miss by 17.5. Lane Kiffin is allowing the entire offensive staff to return to Oxford to coach in Ole Miss in the playoff game. So they will have the full group of offensive coaches, and then they will join Ole Miss in Baton Rouge after. That just screams damage control to me, considering he may or may not have a Juice Kiffin may or may not be his fake dog. Not really sure what's going on there. And then James Madison is 21.5 point favorites to Oregon. Do either of them cover?
I'm going to say James Madison does. I think if either of these games, that would be potentially an upset. I would say James Madison over Oregon, and a lot of it just when Oregon played Wisconsin, it did not look good at all. And that was kind of the game where I was like, maybe Oregon's not as good as what I thought they were. So if anyone is going to do it, I think James Madison would be the one to beat Oregon. Ole Miss and Tulane already played this year, and Ole Miss just beat the brakes off of them. And I mean, I know it's hard to beat a team twice, but
so everything is telling me that Ole Miss would have the better chance to cover, right? Because Lane Kiffin, that whole situation, offensive staff leaving, now coming back, all of that happening. So they're without him. Tulane, I think, is a little more explosive with Jake Retzlaff. They already played this year. It's hard to beat a team twice in a year. Now, again, different levels of competition, but still, it's the whole you played them twice. You already know kind of what it looks like and all this. But everything's telling me that, which means based on this season has gone, that the answer is James Madison. Right. And the one thing James Madison does do is run the football and play great defense. They are top 10 in both. Now, Oregon, they are no slouch either. They won 11 games. Their schedule was not difficult whatsoever. Sorry, Dan Lanning. It wasn't. You played Montana State, Oklahoma State, dumpster fire, Northwestern, ew. Oregon State, I think they won 2 games all year. Penn State, look how that turned out. Indiana, you got beat by 10 on your home turf. Rutgers, ew. Wisconsin, you struggle with. Iowa, all right, you came from behind, won there. Minnesota, USC, Washington. You beat up on who you should have beat up. Again, it's the whole Notre Dame conundrum. I'm inclined to roll with you. I don't think James Madison is going to win, but I do think they keep it within 17 or something like that, right?
Let's have fun with it. James Madison wins the game. Let's have fun with it. Bob Chesney gets the troops going. The hard part is it is a East Coast traveling to the West Coast.
Yeah,
which we know is not a good mix.
And a night game as well. I want one of the group of 5 teams to win so badly so that Paul Feinbaum can't use the phrase that they don't belong
so
anymore.
then we need Tulane to win because we can't have them beat a Big Ten team because, oh my God.
We need both of them to win because if Tulane wins, his excuse will be they're without a coaching staff. Lane Kiffin left. They didn't have their head coach.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So if they both beat them, if Madison beats Oregon and Tulane beats Ole Miss, he can't use the SEC because the SEC lost. He can't use Lane Kiffin, and he can't go after the Big Ten and claims that the SEC is better and Oregon shouldn't have been.
Right.
Like, that's what we need. That's what I want. That's what I crave for. All right, so that would then set up. If I can find the bracket. That would set up Oregon, or are you rolling with James Madison?
I'm gonna roll with James Madison.
Okay, that would be James Madison, Texas Tech. I think that time is a bludgeoning.
Regardless of who you put in that situation, that Texas Tech defense is just so. Like, I know you've been really high on Ohio State's defense, but dog, Texas Tech's defense is. I will say their defense is probably better.
They
turn the ball over. They are a factory.
They are a factory at turning the ball over. My eyes were opened Big 12 championship game. I think that this might be the best defenses we have ever seen in college football. As a collective. I'm not saying the best defense. I'm saying the teams in the top 8, top 10 have some of the best defenses college football collectively have ever had, right? It is the deepest that we have had. Texas defense turns you over. Ohio State can just shut you down and punch you in the gut. So can Indiana, clearly, as we have seen. Georgia's defense is getting back to nasty level. Okay? I know that they put Alabama's defense is nothing to scoff at. They just have offensive issues, much like Oklahoma. And then Miami all the way at number 10. Boy, can they wreck your game rushing 3 people, as they have done so many times. So this playoff, I think, we're taking unders. I might bet unders because you're under until you're not, because these defenses are alive and well. Who's your favorite to win the Natty?
Well, now since they kind of broke out the bracket, because that kind of makes a big difference. Looking at it, you would want to say Ohio State, but Ohio State, I think, has the harder trip because you're either going to get Miami or Texas A&M. So you're either going to get a scrambling quarterback who can give fits, or you're going to get Miami, who has a very speedy kind of defense that if all they have to do is look at Indiana's tape and they kind of look at it and say, okay, this is kind of how we're going to attack them. And then essentially you win that. Now you got to play Georgia, and Georgia, very, very good. They played against Bama very well. They shut what running game Alabama did have. They shut that down. And they took the air completely out of the ball for Alabama. The north side of the bracket, Texas Tech probably has the easiest way in because they would either have to play Bama or Indiana. And for argument's sake, I would say Bama.
You said Bama earlier, so
yeah,
let's just stay with that for now.
Bama, Texas Tech. I would say Texas Tech, so I would say what? Georgia versus Texas Tech in the national championship? I mean, that should be a really good game. I would say out of that, though, offensively probably would favor Georgia. So I would, between Zachariah Branch, I would say probably national champion would be Georgia.
What surprises me about Texas Tech really watching them. Like, I watched them throughout the year. I didn't really watch it. Right, like, they had my undivided attention. Because I was on the road when they played BYU. I probably would have watched the first time.
Right.
They stick with the running game all game.
Yeah, I think their running game is better than Georgia's.
This is not it's an air raid system,
right?
But it's not relying on the pass. I would say they didn't really get going until they got Dickey going, and that is his last name.
Yeah.
And they have two kind of bowling ball backs: a jump cut, bounce off one guy, bounce off another, and always falling forward. And they got two guys that can do that. So they turn a 3-yard rush into a 5-yard rush. Now it's 2nd and 5. Brandon Morton's getting a whole lot better, healthier. What I mean by better, he's getting a whole lot healthier, and they got that tight end. What's his last name? Carter.
I think, yeah.
He's a dude. He is a wide receiver in a tight end's body because he is fast for a tight end.
Could you imagine that? Okay, so we get Texas Tech into the national championship.
Yeah.
And we all know how they love to throw them tortillas.
Yeah.
And if they would do that for the national championship, there's no confetti, just tortillas.
Just tortillas coming down from the ceiling.
That would be. I think we're going to have a very good Final Four teams, and I think the last 2 games of the season, I think, are just going to be just poetry.
I would agree with you because that goes with what we both said to start this podcast, and what I've been saying is there are only 4 or 5 teams that can win the national championship game. Now, if Tulane and James Madison want to upset the apple cart, that's fine. But I still think you're running into problems in round 2 between them. Even if Ole Miss makes it, okay, they're high. They came together as a group. They're high on life. They came together as a group, and they beat Tulane without Lane Kiffin. Now you're going to Georgia. Georgia already beat you once, and what Georgia did in that first game was run on you.
Yeah.
And that's how they came back by 9 points in the fourth quarter. That's what Georgia's going to do again because I think Gunnar Stockton, he's not turning the ball over, but the vertical passing game that was there in the first quarter of the season is not there anymore. So they're going to need the running game to rely on that, and I think that would be. And then if Oregon meets Texas Tech, again, it's the defense and turning you over. That's the difference. Texas Tech can win the national championship game just because they turn you over so much. It's really impressive. I mean, BYU, I think on 3 straight drives had turnovers on Saturday.
Yeah, it was not a good time for was it Brockmeyer?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not a good day for him. It was not good.
And if they make you one-dimensional, which they did because Bachmeier he twisted his ankle and then he wasn't really able to run and their running game really wasn't going, so they had to, more go to the pass or vice versa. It's over. No. They got run stuffers, defensive tackles. Dude, I'm talking myself into loving Texas Tech. Better chance to win a national title, Robert. Indiana or Texas Tech?
Texas Tech. I think they match up. I think they match up very well, and I think they will make Indiana one-dimensional. I think just that defense, they turn you over, and I don't know how. I don't know how they're doing it because the way they're making you turn the ball over makes me feel like they just know what's happening, and I feel like I'm back when where is Connor?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's Connor, one of those things because man, they are just, and they're making these turnovers kind of ridiculously. I mean, you have linebackers just sticking one arm up, grabbing the ball, and then taking off the opposite. You know what I mean? Like
that was awesome.
Yeah,
that was awesome. To your point, the first interception, the defensive end loops around the entire side of the play and just stands in the way, and then Bachmeier threw it right to him. So quarterback has to play a role in this as well. You got to see the guy, but they are so well coached that it looks like that they know what's coming.
Like they spent money on this team, and this team is paying dividends.
Oh my goodness,
big time.
Yes. I think that rolls back to all of these teams declining. Like Baylor put out a statement that said we are well within our, postseason. Basically, Basically, we're just getting ready for next season.
Right.
I think what Texas Tech did, which was take time, make sure we know who we want to get a head start on everyone, and bring in the guys we want.
Right.
Maybe not portal number 1 and portal number 2 and having the number 1 portal guy. Bring in guys we want. Now, Texas Tech did have the best portal class, but these were all guys they want, and it's paying dividends. And I do think that these other teams that are opting out outside of Notre Dame are trying to copy Texas Tech, because most of them were Big 12 schools. Kansas State, Iowa State, Baylor's in there, UCF's in there. So they're all trying to copy the best team in their conference. All righty. Let me just make sure there's nothing else that I want to talk about.
Give me your Heisman winner.
Okay. My Heisman winner is Diego Pavia.
100%.
Mendoza. People will say, well, look where Mendoza brought in Indiana. If you could give the Heisman to a coach, Kirk Cignetti's that coach. Kirk Cignetti should be coach of the year because Indiana has the most losses of all time. And through 2 seasons, Kirk Cignetti has the most wins all time at a program that has the most losses of all time. He is 24-2. Mike Shanahan and his offensive coordinator has something cooking, knows what's up, going to make a good head coach or some other school very happy, or maybe even an NFL team or whatever, because he is very good and he's very efficient. But Diego, from what Indiana did, Mendoza did not fix that. They did that last year with an Ohio quarterback. Diego Pavia completely turned the culture around so much at Vanderbilt, a school known for your brains rather than your brawn, that is football, that they got a top quarterback in the 26 cycle or the 27 cycle?
26.
So they got the top high school quarterback. That's how much Diego Pavia means. And you take Diego Pavia off Vanderbilt, they're not winning 10 games. They're 500 at best. I think if you take Mendoza off Indiana, well, we saw it last year. Diego Pavia was 500 last year, improved that much. Now they are 10-2. You got stats, I assume, to back up this argument.
Right. So it's we have what? Sayin, Mendoza, Pavia, Jeremiah Love.
Yeah. Jeremiah Smith, too.
No, it's only down to the 4, isn't it?
Oh, I thought they took... I'll look it up. But yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Something like that.
So the unfortunate part for Jeremiah Love is the fact that he doesn't necessarily have like a Heisman moment kind of day, he had an okay season, but Ashton Genty last year had a much better season and he didn't even win. So that's the unfortunate part for him. Julian Sayin has the yards and the touchdowns, which great for him, but I think Mendoza has like 2 more touchdowns than what he has.
Okay.
So looking at all these players, Pavia has 200 less yards passing and 3 or 4 less touchdowns. So you're looking at it, you're saying, so quarterback wise, throwing the ball, Pavia is not necessarily the top,
right?
But it's his rushing that just killed it. I think he is. I gotta find it now because you can't just bring everything. So this season, 826 yards on the ground, 9 touchdowns. That's like a fairly good running back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So overall, he's accumulated 27 plus 9 is something.
He's 63rd. He's 63rd best in the nation in rushing.
Okay.
63rd, top 100.
Yeah. As a
out
quarterback.
of everybody. Yeah.
So let's take a look at Julian Sayin's rushing. -2 yards, no touchdowns.
I'm actually impressed it's only -2 yards.
Right. Yeah. So you're like, okay, not a rushing quarterback, but he throws the ball. So one-dimensional quarterback right now, Pavia is above him, just based off of that alone. So now we have to go and look at our boy Mendoza. Mendoza leads in passing touchdowns by 2 touchdowns over Sayin, and that puts like 5 over
Yep.
Pavia.
Yep.
So we look at the rushing aspect of it, 240 yards, 6 touchdowns. Not bad, but not nearly as good as what Pavia is. So Pavia, adding that rushing, I just puts him over everyone. He is the more valuable player.
He is 15th in total passing yards, just behind Ty Simpson, and 15th in total passing yards. By the way, puts him in front of Fernando Mendoza. He has 200 more yards than Fernando Mendoza in passing. In terms of touchdowns, yes, Mendoza leads with 33 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and Pavia has 27 touchdowns, as you notated already. It is the additional 826 yards, bringing a combined total to 4,000 total yards on the season. Pavia should win the Heisman because of stats and because of what he has done for the Vanderbilt program. What he has done for the Vanderbilt program is exactly what Johnny Manziel did for the Texas A&M program, and you cannot argue with me otherwise. He has brought Vanderbilt into national spotlight. Fernando Mendoza did not bring Indiana into national spotlight. Kirk Cinetti did. Everyone's banging their chest. Kirk Cinetti is the best coach. No one's saying Mendoza is the best quarterback. And I think Mendoza will make a better NFL quarterback than Pavia for obvious reasons. Maybe
Right.
I'm wrong, but Mendoza kind of reminds me a little bit of Jared Goff, actually. A little more athletic Jared Goff.
You know who I would compare him more to Josh Allen. Because Josh Allen, like, he kind of has that running where Josh Allen has the threat that he can run, but he's more than likely going to stand back there and throw it. But when he does run it, it's a very smart choice, and it's usually for like 15 plus. And I feel like a lot of times for Mendoza, it was he might run, but he's probably going to throw the ball, but then he'll burn you for 15 or 20.
So your Heisman winner is Pavia. My Heisman winner is Pavia. Everyone with a Heisman vote, their Heisman winner is Fernando Mendoza because it goes to the quarterback on the best team. That's just how the Heisman works. So Heisman voters and College Football Playoff Committee, get better at your jobs because that's what the world's about, I guess. I don't know. That will do it for us here at 4th and 1 Podcast. Go follow us on Instagram, 4th and 1 Podcast, TikTok, 4th and 1 Pod. Follow us on Facebook as well, 4th and 1 Podcast. Until next time, everyone, wash your hands, you filthy animals. We'll see you next week.